'Tis the season for stupid rumors, fa la 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 la. Watch them spread and grow like tumors, fa la 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 la. Look, as the mustache man on YouTube, I kind of got to give you guys the real information. And sometimes I talk about stuff that, yes, is just pure speculation, but there's usually a couple sources that I don't really touch, and I only will touch them if I start to see videos popping up about these rumors being talked about, because this information is actually a couple days old. I believe it started to spread over the weekend. Then I started seeing a bunch of videos pop up in my newsfeed about it on YouTube, and I was like, okay. All right, it's time to talk about these rumors, time to talk about the source of these rumors or where they came from and why we probably shouldn't believe them. So this is starting to gain more and more steam, like I said, spreading like a tumor all over the internet with the supposed 2022 and beyond lineup for the Nintendo Switch. Now, we already know a bunch of Switch games that are scheduled for 2022. Just off the top of my head, we of course have Advance Wars 1 and 2, the remaster of that. We have Splatoon 3. We have the new Kirby game. We have Breath of the Wild 2. We have Bayonetta 3. You know, all of these games have already been said by Nintendo that these are supposedly coming in 2022. And yes, things can always change, but these are the games we actually know about. Now, it's fun to speculate and talk about things that might happen, you know, rumors that have been said, things that have been talked about. But the problem is some people take these rumors as fact. And when you look at the people involved with these rumors who are actually initiating these rumors, you can see it's probably not the best to talk about what these people are saying because, well, for lack of a better term, they're talking out their ass. They might know one or two things that they've heard through the grapevine, things that a lot of people have heard, but most of the stuff is pretty much just throwing shit at the wall. And if something sticks, you can go on Twitter and be like, ha, I was right. And then if none of the things stick, you could be like, oh, well, things change and development change. But there is a large rumor going around right now about the alleged 2022 Nintendo Switch lineup. And this is coming to us from a Twitter user named New Marco Moro. Now, I've talked about him before a few times on the channel, but once again, before talking about a New Marco Moro story, I like to go back and sort of talk about their history and what they have gotten with things right and things wrong. And looking at their history, you could see why I decided not to talk about this initially. So this list was circulating back in 2020 from New Marco Moro, saying that these games were the games for the Nintendo Switch in 2021. You can see here we have new Pokemon Snap in the spring, that had already been announced, a Pokemon collection in February, that didn't happen, Breath of the Wild sequel, that didn't happen, Metroid Prime, or Metroid 2D, that of course was delayed, and new IP, yeah, that's nice and vague, Fire Emblem Remix, that didn't happen, Bayonetta 3, that didn't happen, Zelda Collection, that didn't happen, Zelda Wii U ports, that didn't happen, Kirby, that didn't happen, Donkey Kong Country 6, that didn't happen, WarioWare, like, okay, good job, you know, it was kind of time for that, no Captain Toad sequel, no Style Boutique, and of course, Pokemon Let's Go sequel, no, Wario Land, no, new Pikmin game, no, Advance Wars, is this a remake? Is this a port? Because if it was, I feel like you would have said it like you said with Fire Emblem Remake. So suffice to say, the track record here is very spotty. It's very spotty at best, and I feel like that's being, you know, a bit generous, a bit giving with this track record. But of course, people are talking about it. Websites are talking about it. YouTubers are talking about it. So now it's time for me to talk about it. The latest and greatest of this 2022 lineup. So initial plans for 2022 are Pokemon Legends Arceus. Okay, we already know about that. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Once again, we already know about that. Advance Wars 1 and 2, even though you never had that on your list before. Casual IP, that sounds exciting. Splatoon 3, we already know about that. Fire Emblem Echoes and Detective Pikachu. Okay, Zelda, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, Mario and Rabbids 2, we already know about that. Bayonetta 3, we already know about that. Metroid Prime, I mean, that's been rumored for years. New 2D Donkey Kong, Pokemon Let's Go sequels, Breath of the Wild sequel, Monolith Project, like, there's nothing really here that's new and groundbreaking. There's nothing really here that isn't outside the realm of possibility. Once again, my whole analogy of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks definitely is prevalent with this. I don't think there's going to be much more room for much more besides some finished games like Style Boutique and one eShop game from Intelligent, and sadly some delays can happen. So pretty much just covering your ass in case this list is bullshit. And to me, this list it's bullshit. You're pretty much just perpetuating things that you said were going to happen in 2021 back in 2020 that never indeed happened. So if you stick with it and you stick with that mindset and you keep saying this is what's going to come out, a sequel to a Nintendo game is going to come out in the next year, and then that game gets announced, you can take your little victory lap and be like, yay, I did it, I predicted it right. And it's like, yeah, that's cool, but did you really predict it? Did you really bring any new information to the table with this? I've talked with people about this list behind the scenes, and nobody has really heard this list before. Most of these things are things that have been rumored. A 2D Donkey Kong. This game was supposed to originally be Donkey Kong Country 6, remember? But then we learned that supposedly Nintendo was working on a 2D Donkey Kong, but they didn't want to use the Donkey Kong Country moniker with this game. They wanted to separate it from that. So now that game has become a new 2D Donkey Kong with no Donkey Kong Country, even though on the original list it was said as Donkey Kong Country 6. So I have problems with acting like this is actual factual information. I have problems with stuff like that. There's even some stuff about the Nintendo Switch getting a revision because, you know, that's something that we've talked about from time to time. Obviously, we ended up getting the Switch OLED last year. Wasn't quite what people were expecting. Marco Maro goes on to say some stuff about that as well, saying 2022 will be the last strong year for the Nintendo Switch, since 2023 will be the start of the new generation for Nintendo with a new console, very similar to the actual Switch, but with a little bit more powerful than the PS4 with 4K, new functions, and compatible with old Switch games. So why would 2022 be the last strong year for the system if it's going to be compatible with their old Switch games, meaning that most of the games that are being developed are probably still going to come out on the Nintendo Switch? Let's say we have Super Mario Odyssey 2, which has been rumored for some strange reason, like, wow, the new Super Mario Odyssey game, like that's a big shock. Do you think that Nintendo would just put that game on the Nintendo Switch if they were to launch it in something like 2023? It would just be on this new Nintendo Switch. You wouldn't be able to play it on your old Nintendo Switch. No, the whole point of the new Nintendo Switch isn't going to be a new hardware generation cycle. It's going to be an upgrade. I really feel like, and this is just me talking with this, I really feel like Nintendo is going to go in the direction of incremental upgrades, giving things a little bit more power, doing things like DLSS technology, which we already talked about many moons ago, that we had discovered that Nintendo is doing stuff with in-house DLSS technology, which allows for artificial upscaling, which negates the need to have a whole new beefier system because you can artificially upscale these games, and it works very well. So what is the point of this video? I don't really know. When I see videos pop up like this on my timeline, when I see websites writing about stuff like this, I feel like people get these false hopes and they get this false information because nobody's really saying, hey, this is probably bullshit. Because if you look at the guy who's saying its track record, it's not that good. I have no problems with new Marco Maro. I don't know who this individual is. You know what? Maybe this list is 100% correct. Maybe this list is 100% correct. This individual has the inside connections. His uncle works at Nintendo of America, so he's getting all this information firsthand from his uncle at the family gatherings when his uncle is drunk at the table because he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's drunk. He's having a good time. He's sipping a little vodka with cranberry juice and he's letting it all out. He's letting it all hang out in front of his family, and none of his family cares because they're not video gamers. But new Marco Maro is at that table with his uncle, and his uncle is telling him these tales. Or maybe it's just all just made up, and it's just based on previous speculation, things that we've been hearing about for years, and pretty much things that you could accurately guess because, yeah, I mean, Nintendo's probably going to do a sequel for a game. It's not really that crazy to think about, but those are just my thoughts on the big new Nintendo Switch leak for 2020. I've become a lot more cynical with these videos just because of the fact that I feel like they're always popping up, and, you know, people are always talking about this shit, and sometimes it's worth talking about. You know, there have been things that we've talked about on the channel where people have told me, you know, oh, you're full of shit, you know, you don't know anything about that. Like the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection. People were calling me out about that for many months, and then when it was announced, it was like, okay, you know, I was confident enough to have a lot of confidence in that story. The Switch Pro, I was very confident in that. Now, not so much, because I feel like that Nintendo is just going to do a, you know, incremental thing from now on. I think the OLED is kind of the start of that, especially with that dock. But that's a story for a different day. I just like to have fun on this channel. These are just my opinions. At the end of the day, I am no one. I'm just a man with a camera and a little fancy background and a microphone, talks about video games. That's me. That's me. So let me know what you think of this leak in the comments section down below. Are you on board with this? Is this what's going to happen? Is new Marco Maro and his uncle scheming on the entire world with the full plans for the year? Or is it just a fairy tale? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, and share the video. Check out yesterday's video. I played that stupid YouTuber's Life 2 game that you guys made me play, and it was nothing like my life. It was really nothing like my life, and I kind of question where they got their research data from. And as always, guys, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.